He told us there were a lot of bad people out there. And he taught us a little bit about conspiracies and things like that.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
I believe in God, you know?
Does that faith sustain you?
Of course it does.
Jordan drew a picture of Michael's penis with specific spots or discoloration on the body and on the penis. Jordan came across as being very honest, very credible. Everything that he described is certainly a crime. It was credible enough where we were able to obtain search warrants.
These statements about me are totally false. They served a search warrant on me which allowed them to view and photograph my body, including my penis, my buttocks, my lower torso, thighs, and any other area that they wanted.
After the warrant was served for Michael's body, it was, I didn't see it personally, but it was my understanding that it was confirmed that those markings were present as Jordy had described them on the drawing.
Described Jackson's genitalia. It was unique because of the discoloration, and we then obtained a search warrant to photograph Jackson to corroborate what the child has said.
The most telling mark occurred when Michael Jackson actually lifted his penis, as if in an aroused state.
When things get aroused, you see the other side, and those were the descriptions that he gave.
When photographing Jackson's genitalia, it did corroborate. In other words, the boy saw Jackson naked. Does that mean Jackson molested a child? No, but it adds to the credibility of the child.
Ironically, those who firmly believe that Jackson was a paedophile tend to believe that he bleached his skin as opposed to him suffering with the skin condition vitiligo. This fully contradicts Jackson's existing patches on his male genitalia. Yet one of the first things thrown at you as evidence to prove that Jackson is a paedophile is Jordan Chandler's mushroom drawing that allegedly matched Jackson's penis. In reality, there is only one thing that Jordan's drawing proved, and that is that Jackson indeed did have male genitals. We will take an in-depth look into Jordan's drawing as well as his description of Jackson's private parts. During Jackson's full-body strip search in 1993, they didn't just take photographs, they actually filmed the whole ordeal. Geraldo Rivera, an American talk show host, reporter, attorney and author who saw the tape, discussed the video footage and said you could actually hear Jackson crying. Jackson was ordered to spread his legs, his toes and his buttocks. The strip searchers lifted his penis with a ruler, using other sick, unnecessary tomfoolery. The video was viewed and passed around by the staff of the Santa Barbara DA's office, like it was a good popcorn movie. If no allegation of penetrative sex was ever made against Jackson by Jordan and his father, this cruel and somewhat sadistic ordeal would only serve one purpose: humiliation. Johnny Cochran, Jackson's lawyer at the time, said that the post-strip search ordeal, Jackson, in total emotional agony, locked himself away in his bathroom and wept for an entire day. Not even his mother could coax him out. I cannot begin to imagine how much he must have scrubbed himself after suffering through such horrific violation. Jordan also gave a description of Jackson's private parts. It was said the boy's information was so precise he even pinpointed where the splotch fell while Jackson's penis was erect, the length of the performer's pubic hair, and that he was circumcised. Anyone could have come up with that description. That's a vague match to Jackson's penis. Because of his vitiligo, it is easy to come to the conclusions that he was patched even around his private areas. The description didn't have to be that accurate. As long as he said he had patches here and there, the rest could be filled in. Regarding the pubic hair, Jackson was a black man and black men have short pubic hair. Anyone would have been able to guess that one right. However, there was one big problem with Jordan's description. Jordan stated that Jackson was circumcised when Jackson was in fact not circumcised. This is confirmed in the autopsy report. The difference between a circumcised and uncircumcised penis is undeniable. But one could make the argument that if a person is aroused, you can't tell if they are circumcised or not. However, Jordan described very intimate moments with Jackson. Most men do not stay fully aroused at all times during a sexual exchange. If Jordan really saw Jackson up close and personal, where he could see Jackson's patches and short pubic hair, you may assume he should have seen Jackson at least once without an erection. That is why the detail is very important, especially since this wasn't something he said happened just once or twice, but according to the Chandlers it was a very intimate relationship. So why would Jordan say that Jackson was circumcised? Likely because Jordan himself is, and his Jewish father probably was, and that's all he ever knew. Besides that, over 80% of men are circumcised in the US, according to Wikipedia. So it's a fairly safe guess they assumed. However, they assumed incorrectly. The naked photos of Jackson circulated around the police station, and even most of the officers said they couldn't see a match. The two grand juries back then apparently did not agree to a match either. Also, at the time, there were articles in the media stating that Jordan's description didn't match. But as years went by, the story changed from no match to a match thanks to cynical people like Diane Diamond and Thomas Snedden, among others. It was also reported back in 1993 that Snedden wanted to have another set of pictures taken of Jackson naked. If true, it's obvious that Snedden completely failed to get what he was looking for in the first set. Post-trial verdict, in a brief interview, Snedden admitted to holding on to the photographs, and I quote, "just in case more victims show up." Any discussion of the drawing and the description being a match is a lie perpetrated by the LAPD Santa Barbara Sheriff's Office and Tom Sneddon as to give credence to stripping Jackson naked and photographing him. The drawing allegedly from Jordan was surrendered to the LAPD and the Santa Barbara Sheriff's Office. Based on that drawing, they decided to strip Jackson down. Of course they will claim it matched. They have to justify the strip search and the humiliation of Jackson in the process. Claiming that the drawing was accurate is subjective. How is a drawing from a 13-year-old accurate? An even bigger question is to why the Santa Barbara Sheriff's Office even want him to draw a picture of Jackson's penis. The idea that authorities would have Jordan, or any accuser for that matter, draw a picture is absurd. Professional criminal sketch artists are staffed and prepared to fulfill their responsibility to render composite sketches as accusers describe to them. This assures an accuracy, and this is simple protocol to how composite sketches are handled. Just imagine a child seeing a person robbing a bank. Do you think that a child will draw the picture of the person and give it to the authorities? Of course not. Again, it is the job of the criminal sketch artist to draw a composite based on what's described. This whole match story premised on Jordan's amateur drawing as an accurate description is an absolute joke. As for the description, Sneddon has claimed that he showed pictures of Jackson's penis to Jordan, and Jordan allegedly identified them as a match to Jackson's penis. Why would they show him the pictures in the first place? One would think the pictures were taken to see if there was a match to the accuser's drawing, not to show the accuser. Fact is that had Jordan's description really matched, surely that would have been enough to at least arrest Jackson. But if Jordan really drew Jackson's penis accurately, it was obvious from his rendering that he had no clue what it looked like. And who's to say that Sneddon didn't tamper with the evidence and allow Jordan to first see the pictures and have him make the description after? The claim that there was a match is Sneddon trying to save face. He didn't want to admit to the citizens of Santa Barbara that he was on a witch hunt wasting their tax money. So instead, Sneddon kept claiming that the boy gave an accurate description and that Jackson got away with it. It was the only way to dignify stripping Michael Jackson completely naked and photographing his genitals, which would have been met with a major cry of outrage from the public if it was disclosed that there was no match. That picture claimed to have been drawn by Jordan is a hoax, and it would be no surprise if he had nothing to do with it. The picture was the safest picture in the world because there is nothing of importance in it like size or length. The drawing could have been anything: a house, a mushroom, a hut. That is how specific the drawing was. Anything the Chandler sources or DA sources give you is to try and prove they had something that they didn't have. Truth of the matter is that if they had something, Jackson would have had to go through a criminal trial back in 1993, as was requested by Jackson to take place before a civil trial. But a judge refused to grant Jackson a criminal trial before the civil trial that the Chandlers had pressed. If the Chandlers really wanted Jackson to face the consequences of what they claimed he had done to their child, why were they insisting on a civil trial before a criminal trial? It is because they knew that if the criminal trial took place first and Jackson was found not guilty, which would have been extremely likely given the lack of evidence, they would get nothing out of a civil trial. So they tried to bypass criminal court because going through a civil trial requires a lower burden of proof and allows for hearsay, essentially guaranteeing them getting money either as an outcome of the trial or due to a settlement. The scenario of going through a civil trial before any criminal trial eventually pressured Jackson into a legal tactic to settle the case for millions of dollars rather than risk a weakened defense for a looming criminal trial. Diane Dimond's book seemed to confirm in the first chapter that there was no picture ever taken of Jackson which matched Jordan's description. She describes every single moment of the 1993 body search in excruciating detail based on the testimony given to Snedden's team who carried it out, right down to the specific type of camera used, the emotions and the words spoken during the session and so forth. Supposedly, they were looking for one specific mark on the lower left side of Jackson's anatomy to compare to Jordan's description. The photographer took all sorts of random pictures from every angle possible, and Jackson complied with their every request, including lifting his penis up to simulate sexual arousal when they were looking for this one particular spot. The sergeant claims to have seen this mark, yet after all this, Dimond then comments that it's unclear whether Sergeant Spiegel actually had the time to snap a photograph of the mark he saw. Anyone would agree that there is absolutely no way this smoking gun evidence would have been snapped right away if such evidence matched with what Jordan described. Likewise, it is highly doubtful that Dimond would say that it's unclear if such a picture exists unless it most certainly does not, since she obviously had very close contacts with Snedden and company and was so vivid about all other details about the body search and what pictures were taken. So, in summary, neither the drawing nor the description Jordan gave ever matched Jackson's private parts. It is a tactic used by Snedden to justify his witch hunt, and the media has run with it ever since, still claiming to this day that they matched. There is a reason Michael Jackson told you not to believe the media and to burn all tabloids. They lie. And only when you turn off your TV and start doing your own research will you see that he was right.